they're thirsty for what? Well, the water carrier shouted, the gift of God. When he was carrying the water, reckon that they carried it in skins, animal skins, and carried the water for people to get in the hot country. It was necessary. Does God have something better to offer? Well, I hope we have something better to offer here, in this. Right. Do you have an inner thirst? That is the great thing. Are we thirsty for God's word? Thirsty, that inner thirst, is so important. Do you know that thirst can be quenched? That's the great thing, Yes, the thirst, it can be quenched, and quenched with the real, the real drink, And so we think of here is the Quencher. The Quencher says, "Ho, everyone that thirsts, come to the waters, and you who have no money." Isaiah 55:1. We're really only dealing on a couple of verses here in that, So the question really is, well, who is the quencher? Who will quench your thirst? Who will meet your real need? What an invitation here it is. You see, it says, "Ho, everyone that thirsts, come to the waters, and you have no money. Come buy wine and milk and eat." Yes, come buy wine and milk without money and without price. There's a lot of things to think about here, What an offer. It's a really amazing offer, isn't it? And it's a free offer too as well. They're so great. Well, why? Well, the people would say, well, there must be a catch. Yeah, there's nothing free, in this world. You're always somewhere or other. There's some catch there. They'll want something of me, But no, there's no catch. It's totally free. It's the free offer and the free offer of the gospel. And it is the best that God can give us. Why come to the waters? This is, real spirituality. And it's real spirituality because we need the quencher. We need the one who provides this spirituality in our lives. So Jesus answered and said to the woman at the well, "If you knew the gift of God and who it is who says to you, 'Give me a drink,' you would have asked him and he would have given you living water." How amazing, isn't it? How wonderful it is. And you see, here is the quencher. The real quencher is telling us that it's living water we need. It's water that will, when you receive it, you'll never thirst again. It's going to be satisfying, and it will give you satisfying forever. Will you trust the quencher is the big question, you see. As this goes out to people, and we hope the people will read it online, and will they trust the quencher? What does it mean to them? And they have to think about that. And, will you trust Jesus now to meet your inner need? That is the great thing, you see. And will you trust your future to Jesus as well? That is the great thing. Trust yourself in his hand and trust all the future to him, and know that he's keeps his word, if you come to him. Will you trust your whole eternity into his hands? That's it, you see, forevermore. It's not just saved today and lost tomorrow. It's saved for all eternity then, as we really come. And it's not of course, the decision of a moment. It's, it's the whole work of a lifetime. And it's the power of God working and keeping us for a whole lifetime. So here, will you trust the quencher is the big question. You don't have to worry about that link, it's just there. and we go buying, don't we? So it's important, isn't it? We have to buy, and we have to deal, we have to think about it, you see. And yet we don't need, it's one of these buying that we don't need money for. That's amazing, isn't it? That, I suppose, some people could really hardly imagine. And we go begging as well, we're going to be looking at, and begging to God for him to answer and him to help us. Right. And so that is quite amazing and it's quite wonderful. I was, before I go on there, I was looking at a story, about someone who was really buying and really thinking about this. And it's a providential prayer, an answer to prayer, A lady was praying for her wayward son. He had went off the rails all the wrong way, and maybe thinking about the different things, you see, playing the wild rover, as we say. And he was, just went off to enjoy life, But, one night she was praying very seriously for him. She thought, a lot about him and the way he went, and prayed very earnestly to God that God would undertake for him whatever his need might be. So that was quite amazing. Well, several weeks passed, and one night there was a knock at the door. So she went to the door, opened the door, and who was there but her son? That was amazing, wasn't it? And his first words, "Mother, I'm saved." An answer to our prayers. Then he told his story. It was some weeks previously. He had been in the mid-Atlantic. It was in a terrible storm, a bit like John Newton, with little likelihood of survival. It was terrible. You know what happened? In the night, in the middle of the storm, he was washed overboard. And he prayed to God then there, being washed overboard. And he struggled in the water. The thought came to him, he says, "I'm lost." Suddenly the verse of the hymn came to him, and he remembered it from his boyhood days. There is life for a look at the crucified one. There is life at this moment for thee. Then look, sinner, look unto him and be saved, unto him who was nailed to the tree. What happened? And so, in the agony of his heart, he cried out to God, and then he lost consciousness. He didn't know anymore. And what happened? Hours afterwards, the storm had ceased, and he found himself, amazing, lying on the deck of the ship. You see, one wave had washed him overboard, and another wave came and washed him back onto the deck again and brought him back. Aye. His first words to his shipmates were, "Thank God I'm saved." But it was a double salvation. He was saved from the watery grave of the sea, but he was saved spiritually. He was saved for all eternity. He was saved, his soul was saved. From that time on, he had the assurance of God's salvation, which meant everything to him. And his life was totally changed, manifestly changed, it says. And his mother listened to his story. And then she told him, as they checked on it, at that very hour, she had prayed fervently for him during the night. And quite amazing, wasn't it, that he was saved. A double salvation, you could say. How great, isn't it? He was begging God to save him. He was really buying, He was really concerned. And so, amazing. And we'll be thinking later then of the bargaining. Yeah. and he was in a position there to bargain and to call God, you know. In God's terms, he was coming, you see.
Right.